Little Debbie's.
So this is block number 9 for the building blocks class, which is the left twist. So I was just talking to Laura here and she got caught up on her squares, and I need to get caught up on my squares. I have a couple that are lagging behind. This was, if you were able to do the right twist stitch, which we did a couple months ago, you are not going to have any trouble with this one. It is just a little bit of a different arrangement from the right twist to do the left twist. So I'm going to show you the block that I have done so far. There we go. Okay, so I've got it about a third of the way done. It has alternating blocks. So you've got knit and purl blocks, and then you've got left twist blocks. So you get this kind of patchworky, that's the official word, patchworky design. The pattern repeat on this block is a 16 row repeat. So here are the first 8 rows that make this first row of blocks. And then the alternate where they swap places are the rows 9 through 16. And then you repeat these 16 rows a total of 4 times to get your full block. Okay. In class this morning, we were talking about if you were having trouble with keeping track of where you were, there is an increase row. So you do have 42 body stitches. You have to do an increase setup row. So you've got 42 in the middle, and you could put markers every 6 stitches. There's no yarn overs that are going to, cause the markers to be in the wrong place or anything like that. So we did have a couple people this morning put markers every 6 stitches just to make sure that they were on track. Particularly when you were switching in between the alternates, because you end up knitting your knits and purling your purls on these blocks. But when you switch to the second 8 rows, it reverses, and it was easy to get thrown off. So you can absolutely use markers in between. I always recommend the markers for your border stitches. The border starts the same, and I always put a marker on my right side row to do it. Okay. So let's see. And then I only had really just a couple of notes. One was to do that they are in blocks of 6 and use markers. The other was, I felt like, these stitches are definitely twisting. They're leaning to the left, but I felt like they were a little on the wonky side, and some are wonkier than others. And I figured out that part of it has to do with your tension when you're making the left twist stitch. So if you feel like they are a little too loose, I tightened it up a little bit on this row, and I feel like they lined up a little better. I'm not overly concerned about it. It definitely looks like they're all leaning to the left. But if it feels a little sloppy, I'll show you what I mean when I demonstrate the stitch for you. Okay. So let me put this side out of the way. All right, so I've got one here just to show you. I just did 12 stitches here, so I can just show you a repeat. You are doing the left twist on every other right side row, and you're either doing in your block of 6, you're either doing a left twist for 3 times in a row, or you're knitting 1, doing a left twist, doing a left twist, and knitting 1. So it's only one of those two setups that happen to give you the nice, the change in diagonal. So I'm going to start with, what row 1 is, which starts with a purl 6. Right in my way here. Go around here. Decided I would use straight needles for this, and that was a mistake. It's not running over the camera. All right, so we're going to pull the first 6 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so to do the left twist, you need 2 stitches to do the left twist. And when we did the right twist, if you remember, we went into the 2 stitches and we knit one of them, and then we knit the other one. With the left twist, we are going to skip the first stitch and we are going to knit the second stitch through the back loop. So I'm going to turn it over here just a little. I'm going to knit that stitch through the back loop, pull it through, but don't take off the old stitch. Okay, so here's the stitch I just knit. It's pulling it a little. And now we're going to knit the stitch we skipped into the front loop. So we're not increasing or decreasing. We now have 2 stitches to replace the 2 stitches that we had. Okay, we're just knitting them in a different order. So let me repeat that again. Skip the first one, knit into the back loop of the second stitch and pull it through, and then knit the first stitch and then pull both stitches out. I like that one better because I changed my tension. So here's what I mean when I talked about that the tension can be weird. I'm going to do one more here. Okay, so go in to knit the back stitch, pull it through. And my first inclination, I realized, was to kind of pull up the yarn so it wouldn't be too tight to get into the front. If you pull this too loose, you're going to have kind of a sloppy stitch, which is what I ended up having here. Like some of these are a little sloppy looking. It's because I think I pulled that back loop up too far before I went in to knit it. Okay, so you don't want it to be loose, you don't want it to be tight, but you also don't want to make it loose. So I had to find myself just being a little more conscious about pulling my working yarn, going in to make the second stitch, and making sure they were the same size, that one wasn't bigger than the other, and then pulling them off. And I found I had a much nicer, more even stitch. Okay. 1, 2, 4, 6. I'm glad I gave myself an extra stitch. Okay. And then on the reverse side, you're going to be doing groups of either knit 6 and then purl 6, knit 6, purl 6 all the way across. So your wrong side will only be blocks of knit 6, purl 6, knit 6, purl 6, or the reverse, depending on what section you're in. Okay. And then, so this one, oh, I should have knit this one first. Knit. Only doing the repeat. So, no. So I'm gonna hit 7 on this side. Knit and then knit. So here I'm knitting my knits for these plain blocks, and you'll purl your purls. So that's easy to keep track of. And then back to the right side again. All right, so then there's a whole lot in this pattern of, that's a lot of glare, of same as row 1, same as row 2. So these are the only rows that you're repeating. Is either you're doing a left twist 3 times, or you're doing a knit 1, the left twist twice, and then a knit 1. And then what it does is it offsets the left twist stitch. So let me work across to here. So you can see if I had markers in here, they wouldn't be in the way of any of the stitches to have markers every 6 stitches. All right, so on this one, I'm going to knit this one. And now I'm going to left twist. So it's going to move, so the left twist won't stack on top of each other. They move over and you get this nice diagonal. Go into the back loop. Knit that stitch, pull it through, not too loose, not too tight. And then knit the first stitch that we skipped, pull it through, and then pull both stitches off. So you're just replacing the stitches. And we'll do that again. Go into the back loop. Into the front. Pull it off. And then you would knit the last stitch. So still a series of 6 stitches. And I gave myself an extra. So it starts to move. You can see that line starting to move to the left. And that's the left twist. There really was not, it goes pretty quick, I would say. I don't know that I would want to do a whole block in just the left twist, but I do like it as an accent. I think it would also be pretty coming, I like it coming out of the seat stitch. I think it would also be pretty coming out of ribbing. That could be pretty to do too. And that's the left twist, isn't it? Oh, we lost Bernie. I wonder if it was her internet that we were losing. Corey, do you have any questions?
No, it looks, I'm glad it's better that you did it. I was having a hard time understanding reading the directions, but
I
seeing
know,
it,
I know.
I get it
So,
now.
and I do think that the biggest thing was the tension. Just being mindful of that. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but I kept wanting to like pinch them together and straighten them up. Whereas up here, it's much better. So just be mindful of your tension. It's not going to change the overall tension of the block. It's just going to reflect the tension in those 2 stitches. So yeah, it's kind of a reversible block. It's kind of weird on the back, but it's not terrible, but it does make a pretty block. Yeah, and that's it. The left twist. Let's stop this one. Okay. Let's stop